Let's just take a breath here. Look at the sheer volume of noise. Just the sheer unadulterated weight of it. He is typing in caps lock so hard I can feel the heat coming through the screen. Wow. Big, bold, an important first step. It's exhausting. It's loud. It's desperate. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Because while he is screaming about total border control and great military victories, the market is doing exactly what it always does when the air gets this thin. It barely moves. It just prints quietly, indifferently. Look at the timing of this madness against the tape. The tape. Bitcoin edged down 0.12%, 29th percentile. Ethereum edged up 0.008%, 18th percentile.
Edged down.
Tiny decimals, a whisper. And he is out here claiming the most successful stock market in history with 81 record days. 81 days of record-breaking glory, and the tape is essentially flatlining on a Tuesday morning. Hype is a rendering error. People, the tape has no soaring. It has no crashing. It only has prints, and right now, the print is barely there. Let's talk about this Mecca Joint Defense Agreement. He calls it a big, bold, and important first step. Wow! He's congratulating Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. He's painting this picture of the Middle East coming together, defending themselves in a meaningful way. It sounds like a history book written by a man who has never read one. But then you look at the other thread, the North Korea thread. He's claiming his very good relationship with Kim Jong-un means he's not happy about joint military exercises. He says these exercises are costly, paid for by the U.S., and send an hostile signal to a country that has been unthreatening and respectful. So, on one hand, you have this grand geopolitical architecture being laid down in Mecca. On the other hand, he's instructing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to substantially reduce exercises because Kim is respectful. And then, almost as an afterthought, he asks South Korea to join in the denuclearization of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and they say no thanks. The inconsistency is staggering. It's not just contradictory, it's disjointed. He's building one world with his words and dismantling it with his instructions. And where is the market in this? Nowhere. Because the tape doesn't care about your friendships or your rejections. Bitcoin edged down 0.12%, 29th percentile. It doesn't know who is respectful or who said no thanks. It just knows that volatility is low and sentiment is detached, but he can't let the market rest. He has to explain it. He has to justify the silence with noise. So he goes after Shannon Bream. Watching Fox News with Shannon Bream is always like watching the worst of fake news CNN. He's claiming she picks guests and charts that are negative. She doesn't talk about the incredible things the administration has done. And here comes the list. It's a litany of claims. Total border control. Lowest crime rate in recorded history. The lowest murder rate since 1900. 125 years. He is citing specific massive historical comparisons to prove that the tape is wrong. Or rather, that his narrative is right. He mentions over 500% drop in drug prices. He says the U.S. is more respected throughout the world. And then he attacks her guests. Juan Williams fired like a dog. Jessica Tarlov, dumber than the last guy. Chris Wallace was bad, but Shannon is even worse. It's a personal vendetta wrapped in a political defense. He's trying to manufacture a market of public opinion because the actual market isn't buying his narrative. The tape is flat, so he has to create a storm. He says MAGA is close to 100% of the Republican Party and that they see her ratings fall. He's claiming moral victory in a vacuum, but look at the links he shared to support this delusion. Trump wins legal battle to keep cheap imports subject to tariffs. The case for overhauling American science. Exclusive. Trump admin opens new front in war on fraud, this time in child sex changes. He is linking to articles about war, fraud, and science, trying to bundle them into a single narrative of success. But the tape. Ethereum edged up 0.08%, 18th percentile. It's not celebrating. It's barely registering. Let's look at the numbers he is throwing around. Because when you don't have a moving market to point to, you have to invent a financial one. He talks about $19.2 trillion in investment. Who knows how much? A huge sum. A fortune. He's touting this figure as proof of the biggest investment in our country in history. He links to an article about Trump effect. Prescription drug prices fall at record-breaking pace, claiming a drop over 500%. These are his claims, his numbers. They are huge. They are bold. But they are not on the tape. The tape is silent on investment flows. The tape is silent on drug prices. The tape only sees Bitcoin edge down 0.12%, 29th percentile, and Ethereum edged up 0.08%, 18th percentile. Why does he need to shout about 19.2 trillion? Because the market isn't giving him that recognition. He needs to build a monument out of words because the ground beneath him is still. He mentions 6 number arrests and a 44% homicide drop in D.C. 44%. Another huge figure. He's trying to anchor his reality in these massive, unverified claims because the only verified thing left is the indifference of the market. And then there's the fraud, the sham marriages in NYC, the corruption in the FBI. He links to FBI touts 6 number arrests, 44% homicide drop, and also FBI had 14 informants on Biden corruption. He is curating a narrative of total purification. Todd Blanche sworn in as AG. White House celebrates huge win. Biden-era directive for diplomats to peddle DI scrapped. It's a cleanup crew. A purge. And he links to Peter Navarro calling tariffs a great scam. He is linking to his own victories, his own arrests, his own legal wins. But notice what he isn't linking to. The market's reaction. Because there is no reaction to react to. Bitcoin edged down 0.12%, 29th percentile. That is the only truth that matters here. The rest is just noise. Just wow! And trumps and successes. He ends by saying he's heading back into the Oval Office to work on more successes. But the tape has already told us what those successes look They look like a flat line. They look like down 0.12% and up 0.08%. Numbers so small they might as well be zero. And that is why he types in caps lock. That is why he shouts about 19.2 trillion. Because if he stops, the silence wins. And the tape never sleeps. It just watches. That's the show. We're on Spotify and YouTube. If this earned it, like, subscribe, tell a friend. And housekeeping. The machine that writes this gets tuned constantly for cleaner news. The numbers are real, the jokes are not.